Are the rich really all that different? Well, a nationwide study done by the Pew Research Center looked at the attitudes towards the rich from regular people and asked questions to see if the rich really are different than us, or if they thought differently of the rich. So the study covered topics like taxation, do the rich pay too much in taxes, other subjects like are they more intelligent, are they more hardworking, are the rich greedy? Those were some of the questions that were asked, and there were some actually interesting results. Now, according to this research poll, many Americans believe the rich are different than other people. They are viewed as more intelligent and more hardworking. However, many Americans also view the rich as greedy and a lot less honest than regular people. Now, that's kind of fascinating. Now, 43% of people think that the rich are more likely to be intelligent, and 8% said that they were less likely to be more intelligent than regular people. Okay, so it kind of goes with the thing that, oh, well, if you're wealthy, you were smart, you did things right, and you were also more hardworking. And actually, 43 or 42% say the rich are more hardworking, and 24% say that they were less likely to be more hardworking. So it goes to the whole thought of our meritocratic system. Oh, if you're smart and you work hard, you will become rich. These people are rich, so they're obviously smarter and they worked harder than the rest of us. Would you say that's kind of an accurate assessment of what people think?
Well, yes, of what people think. I just disagree with what the majority of people think. But yes, I think that is the way that most people think, but they're wrong.
they would have been right, back in the 50s, because that social mobility was a lot higher than it was right now. And we're going to get to kind of why it's not. Full 55% of people surveyed view the rich as greedier than regular people. Now that is the stat that I can agree with.
Absolutely.
And 34% of people say the rich are a lot less honest. Once again, the American people they're catching on, because they do see that the rich, that many of the rich are greedy and less honest. I mean, look. And one can only have to look at the banking sector, the people who crashed our economy in 2008, when they were selling toxic securities that they knew were bad, but marketing them as good.
And I think that the richer that you are, the higher up in that top 10% that you get, the greedier and less honest you are.
Well, there was a study that came out probably a couple of weeks ago that said that the rich don't feel rich unless they have over $5 million or something like that, or they felt poor. If they had $5 million, they felt poor.
Yeah, there was there was an anchor on Fox News that was trying to say that $250,000 a year is almost poverty.
Almost poverty. Maybe if you're living in, not even if you're living in New York, which is expensive as hell. California, also expensive as hell, but I really don't think that that is poverty. Come on, guys.
That's not poverty. Even in New York City, in Manhattan, that's not poverty. You can still live well. You may not consider yourself rich if you're living in New York City and Manhattan.
I'd say you
at that rate, but
rent yourself a really nice studio apartment, because rent there, I mean, in New York is probably about $3,000 for a studio apartment. So it is expensive, but you would only need. There was a study that said, I believe in the Northeast, that you would only need about $200,000 to actually be wealthy, be considered wealthy in the Northeast.
Right. Absolutely. $250,000 is very good, no matter where you are in the country.
Yeah.
And the ironic thing is that the woman who said that is one of the same people who has such vitriolic hate for the idea of raising the minimum wage.
Exactly. So, and I want to get into this topic of partisanship, because this was actually asked in the study as well and examined in detail in the study. So when you break it down by the parties, majority of Republicans, that's 55%, think that the rich are more hardworking, 42% think the rich are greedy, 49% of Republicans think the rich are more intelligent, and only 18% of Republicans think that the rich are honest. So these are Republican voters, and even they are catching on.
I think that it's very varied, though. I think when you're talking about the uber rich, like the 1%, the 1% of the richest people are, I think, more likely to be dishonest, not very hardworking, because they have become spoiled by this gratuitous wealth, and they actually do a lot less than of hardworking individuals that work 40 hours a week. They're making money off of those people's backs, whereas rich people like, say, Bill Maher or Jon Stewart or Bill Gates, they actually have pretty much earned their wealth, and they have created something and contributed something to the world.
And that's what matters. And just to be clear, we don't, I'm not going to sit there and hate on people that are wealthy. It may seem like it, but if you actually got there, if you got there honestly, and you got there, you had a good idea, and you worked your ass off to get it there, God bless.
Yeah,
right? That's the best in the world. That's what every American should have the opportunity to be able to do.
Like the CEO of Costco. He's wealthy. He considers himself wealthy, but he's done so by building a business on a business model that helps and benefits his workers.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's the kind of people. And also, did you know that a lot of our companies are actually started by poor immigrants? They came over to America and they made something of themselves,
including the Koch brothers.
Well,
not the Koch brothers, but their father actually came over.
Well, a good example, though, to counter that is the founder of Google. You got a point?
As far as, well, I'm not going to throw Bill Gates in there because he technically stole his operating system. MS-DOS basically was a version of the Apple, the Apple II, to be honest with you. So technically, he pretty much stole it, and Jobs stole a lot of that from Xerox. So he didn't get there based on merit. He got there off of thievery.
Well, but you know what we mean. I mean,
yeah.
Maybe we're bringing up bad examples, okay? But nonetheless.
Well, I just brought up the Koch brothers because I'm just saying the Koch brothers because they're hypocrites. Because their father was an immigrant who came to this country and started a business, but they now, are the types of people that want to keep immigrants out of this country and don't want to give people a pathway to citizenship, even though they are, the sons of an immigrant that came to this country. So I just wanted to point them out, to point out their own hypocrisy and the fact that they are the epitome of the spoiled rich person who does not get their wealth from working very hard. They inherited their wealth and have spent their whole lives just trying to keep it and make more.
It becomes an aristocracy to a certain point, but the problem that I have with the Koch brothers is when people accumulate wealth is that wealth has a way of showing who you really are. I mean, some people do change once they accumulate wealth. Where I'm coming from is because at the Koch brothers, I personally believe they should pretty much be able to do whatever the hell they want as long as they're not abusing human rights or poisoning my waters.
But that's all they do.
I know. It's like...
Right. Well, I hear you. But getting back to the study, so what did Democrats think about it? I think it's pretty obvious. 33% of Democrats think that the rich are more likely to be hardworking. 65% of them think the rich are greedy. 38% think that the rich are more intelligent, and only 8% think that the rich are honest. And these, like I said, these are Democratic voters taken in this poll. When asked if the rich pay their fair share, 58%. And this is not out of the partisan part now. This is just general. People that were sampled, 58% of people say that upper income people pay too little in federal taxes. And 26% say upper income people pay their fair share, and 8% think that they pay too much in taxes.
Were the 8% the actual rich people that we're talking about?
And 20% of people think that lower income people pay too little in taxes.
Oh, for God's sake.
So that's, I mean, those are the people that are the 47, you know, that bought into that whole 47%
Right.
line from Mitt Romney. Now, this, of course, breaks down by partisanship once again. With a majority of Republicans, 44% saying that the rich do pay their fair share, while most Democrats, a whopping 79% of Democratic voters, say that the rich do pay too little. So what's interesting is that also 33% of Republicans think that the rich pay too little. That actually gets me hopeful. I don't know why, but it gets me a little bit more hopeful, I guess. So moving on, most people, and that's 65%, think income inequality has gotten bigger. And out of that, 57% think it's a bad thing, and only 3% think it's a good thing. Who are these 3%?
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking. Rich people.
But aren't they
You'd
the 41%?
think.
Rich people and those who think that they're going to become rich.
Right.
So another question was asked. What party favors the rich? Right? What party favors what class? Well, more than 6 in 10 Americans say that the GOP favors the rich over the middle and lower classes. Now, about 1 in 4 people say that the Republican Party favors the middle class, and 3% say the GOP favors the poor. What is that?
Who are these 3%?
Who are these 3%?
The evangelicals.
Must be. And I gotta say something quick about that. It's the problem that I have with evangelicals and their, the fact that they are, a lot of them are Republicans. They think that the poor are in their position because that's God's plan. It's a classic cop-out.
Right.
Well, the rich are rich because it's God's plan. But the poor are super poor. Well, it's God's plan. I don't need to help them.
They must be being punished for some horrible.
They must be terrible people, or else they wouldn't be poor. So back to this. What about Democrats? Now, 20% say the Democrats favor the rich. 35% say the Democrats favor the middle class, and 32% say they favor the poor. So it's a lot more evenly distributed. I happen to think that some of our Democrats in office do favor the rich as well. I think they favor them just a little bit too much because the rich happen to sign their paychecks. But, however, most Republicans, and this is a fascinating fact, most Republicans don't see their party as favoring the rich over other social classes, but instead the middle class. Huh. So that kind of blows me out of the water.
Really?
Yeah.
The union crushing party. Really?
Favoring the middle class.
But the fact that they're
he didn't stand up for the unions during the Wisconsin's teachers union strikes. None of it.
No. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, they're self-delusions. They're just utterly delusional. You know, if they don't think that their own party favors the rich.
Yeah, absolutely, because all their policies involve helping the rich. Now, I can see how some of the rhetoric
blue's the new red,
because you guys are paying, well, we're paying too many taxes, right? That's all that they hear on Fox News is that these pundits are saying we're paying too many taxes. Taxes are too high. Taxes are too high. You realize that they're talking about themselves and not about you. They're talking about themselves. When they say taxes are too high, yeah, Bill O'Reilly, when he says that, he's talking about himself. Because he's pretty much rich. Okay, he's not talking about you.
But
Yeah, they want to raise.
You have to understand that people like Bill O'Reilly don't have the ability to file for certain taxes that people like Mitt Romney and corporations. I mean, they get away with fucking murder because of the loopholes. I mean, they're just envious that they don't get away with as much of the tax loopholes as the people that are richer than they are.
But here's the thing: a lot of the poorest places vote for Republicans, and that astounds me because how can these poor people see what the Republicans are actually trying to do and legislating and their rhetoric, and say, "Yep, these guys are looking out for me. My taxes are too high." No, you're part of the 47% that Mitt Romney just took a shit on.
They buy the lies.
What's that?
They buy the lies. They buy
do.
the lies, the rhetoric, the
Well,
talking
they
points.
are a bit too high. The working class and the working poor in this country does pay too much in taxes. I believe that it should be a flat tax straight across the board.
Flat taxes are absolutely regressive, and we can disagree on that. But we're running
At
out of
another
time.
time.
We'll hit that
on.
another time. Just finally, the final stat that I want to give to this is that, of course, for Democrats that were asked the same question, which party favors the rich, 93% of Democrats overwhelmingly believe that the Republican Party favors the rich.
Fantastic.
Of course, that's about as no-brainer as you can get.